lost medieval bridge that transported kings and queens re-emerges. In 2018, a member of the Ancrum and District Heritage Society near Ancrum, Scotland, was perusing a local document from 1647 and discovered a mention of a bridge that at one time spanned the River Teviot. The remains of the bridge were found underwater in the river using drones and aerial photography. After 2 years of study, Wessex archaeologists, Dendra Chronicle, a group which specializes in timber and volunteer members of the Ancrum and District Heritage Society, have determined that the bridge dates back to the 1300s and stood over 400 years. According to HeraldScotland.com, famous historical figures who used the bridge would have been King David II, who ruled from 1329 to 1371, and may have ordered the construction of the bridge to hasten the route from Edinburgh to Jedburgh and the borders. Mary, Queen of Scots, crossed in 1566, and a young James V traveled over the bridge in 1526. In 1545, Henry VIII's rough wooing war began, a plan devised by the king to marry his son Edward to Mary, Queen of Scots, and promote the Protestant religion in Scotland, as well as ownership of a piece of land that was claimed by both Scotland and England. The English army was attacked and defeated by an army of Scots in the Battle of Ancrum Moor, and the Marquis of Montrose used the crossing on his way to his own defeat at the Battle of Philiphaugh near Selkirk in 1645. According to Coralie Mills of Dendra Chronicle, the bridge was at one time a wooden multi-arch design made from oak that may have originated in Jed Forest about 3 miles away. The foundations were placed 32 feet apart, and the wood was from the 1300s, according to radiocarbon dating. Jeff Parkhouse of ADHS remarked, "Ancrum Old Bridge now has a 14th century date. In Scotland, there is not a standing bridge that's earlier than the 15th century. In those times, during flood or high water, the Ancrum Bridge may have been the only place to cross the Teviot between Hawick and Berwick, making it one of the most important structures in medieval Scotland." He likened the bridge to a social spine for the local farmers and tradesmen. The bridge was also important in trade, according to SmithsonianMag.com. Abbeys and castles were made closer by the construction of the span and were able to trade wool and collect taxes. Dr. Robert McIntosh of Wessex Archaeology, Coastal and Marine claimed that the results are really exciting. In addition to the surprisingly early date, it seems the foundations were built using branders, a wooden frame laid on the riverbed upon which the courses of stone were placed. This is a first-time branders have been found in an archaeological context in Scotland. By 1698, the bridge was in such a state of disrepair it was no longer used. The townspeople urged the authorities to fix the bridge, but their requests were ignored, only to have more damage done by a flood a few years later. A toll bridge was built on the site in 1784 and replaced in 1939. Excavations are still being conducted, and as with most archaeological sites, it's exposed, meaning looters and treasure seekers are always a threat. Scotland.org tells us the Scottish Borders is an area of eastern Scotland and is called such as it sits on the border of Scotland and England. It's one of 32 council areas of Scotland and borders on the town of Edinburgh. The River Tweed runs east to west through the area. The largest town is Galashiels, with a population of almost 15,000 residents, and Earlston, which is home to almost 2,000, and a total of 114,000 as of the March 2011 census.